Maritime Made is brought to you by Invest Nova Scotia. Experience and expertise strengthening your business.
Entrepreneur Paul Hill created Maritime Foods in 2021 with food security and sustainability in mind. Based in Harrietsfield, Nova Scotia, his facility manufactures food products made from quality local produce. His other signature brand, Hill's Jamaican Jerk, has treated Atlantic Canadians to his handmade Jamaican sauces since 2016.
We're a small food manufacturing facility. We're a HACCP certified facility based here in Halifax, and we co-pack for 14 different companies companies in PEI, New Brunswick, and here in Nova Scotia. Co-packing actually is about 90% of our revenues, and Maritime Foods and Hill's Jamaican Jerk makes up that 10% of our business. And yeah, we're excited because we just started Maritime Foods in 2022. And Maritime Foods really is a company that started to, create more local brands for Nova Scotia, for Nova Scotians. And really our goal for Maritime Foods is to source locally as much as we can for the products that we're putting out. So if there's a product out there that has local ingredients that we can source locally, that's what we're going to do. So we want to support our farmers to help them, grow their business also.
Today, Maritime Foods is making their medium salsa. Cases of tomatoes from Den Han greenhouses are gathered from the fridge, along with green peppers and packages of jalapenos. And the salsa prep begins. The box of green peppers is taken to the sink. Half of them are spilled into water to be washed. 2 cases of tomatoes are placed in water in the other sink. These are all washed and placed in tubs. The tomatoes are destemmed and any damaged spots are removed. Then they're chopped into large chunks before being placed in a large bin. Green peppers are sliced down the middle and the seeds are removed. These get chopped even smaller before putting them in a large bucket. Yellow onions from the Annapolis Valley are gathered from their bag in the fridge. The onions are trimmed and rough chopped. During Nova Scotia's harvest season, jalapenos are sourced locally. Today, they're cut out of packaging and added to a bowl to be washed. Once clean, their tops are removed and each is sliced down the middle repetitively before being cut into rough pieces. The entire plant gets used. The seeds add spice to the salsa. The onions are further chopped. Once all the ingredients are prepped, the space is cleaned and a work table is brought closer to the kettle. Garlic, tomatoes, onions, green peppers, jalapenos, and a pre-made secret spice mix are ready to go. Sugar and salt are also added to the mix. A steam kettle is used in this production kitchen. It's calibrated and brought to the correct temperature and pressure. For this recipe, the temperature is set to 210 degrees Fahrenheit. 3 cups of distilled water are poured in. The safety relief valve is reattached. The gauge needs to get up to 20 psi and gas needs to be released. A true reading is only possible when its jacket is cooled. The hot water is poured out. This process is repeated until it's ready.
For Maritime Foods, we're building a company that will help secure our food source in Nova Scotia. We want Nova Scotians to have a brand, and that's Maritime Foods. We want to make sure that our food source is secure in the future. You look at what's going on right now with global warming. A lot of these countries that we get our produce from, they're experiencing really, really bad weather and extreme weather, we would say. If we're sourcing from those countries, eventually, we're going to be in a situation where there's shortage of stuff. And
the tomatoes are weighed and added to the kettle. The pre-weighed onion is added next. A paddle is used to stir things using a rolling motion. The peppers are added. Everything is evenly mixed and the heat is checked. Then the jalapenos go in. A thermometer is calibrated using a smaller kettle. It must remain at 212 degrees Fahrenheit for 7 seconds. The spices are added and stirred in. Pre-peeled garlic is weighed. This goes into a blender. White vinegar is measured and added to cover the garlic. The rest is poured in the kettle. The garlic is lightly blended before joining the other ingredients. It's time for a big stir. Now that it's steaming, the salsa is pulsed with an immersion blender. Cans of tomato paste are added to thicken it. All ingredients' batch numbers are recorded. With all the ingredients cooking, it's time for a taste and consistency check. The salsa's temperature is checked as it's coming to a boil. The filling machine is turned on. Since it's pre-sanitized, it's rinsed with warm water. Once ready, it's brought to the kettle, which is tipped, transferring the salsa. A bucket is used to capture every last bite. The filling machine is stirred, and some of the garlic is mashed into smaller pieces. Finally, the lid is placed on. The salsa jars go through their 3-step sanitizer, and then they're placed near the filling machine. The jar lids are collected. The filling machine is operated by a pneumatic foot pedal and works quickly. A funnel helps to minimize any mess. The lids are put in place, and the expiry dates are added. Every 4 or 5 bottles, the temperature of the salsa is checked, making sure it's not below 186 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent any spoilage. When the filling machine is empty, labels are strung through the labeling machine. One is pulled off and put on a jar manually to see if the machine's label placement height needs adjusting. It does, and is lowered. Salsa jars are loaded onto the conveyor, and sensors detect when to label them. The jars are received and left to cool before packaging. 12 jars fill each case. A label with the batch number and expiry date are added to the case. Maritime Foods is a co-packer for 14 Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick companies, providing their food production needs. Cabbage Patch Kimchi is also in production today, and tomorrow, the Candied Jalapeno Company's products are being made.